Well, good morning, everyone. Oh, sorry to startle you, Brother Terry. I saw you jump back in your seat there. Well, good morning, everyone. It is so good to be in church this morning. Welcome to those of you in this space and also those of us joining online. My name is Reverend Mark Chase. I have the honor of being one of the associate rectors here at All Saints Church. My pronouns are he, him. And this morning, it is my honor and privilege to welcome back to All Saints Church none other than Chris Yi Suh. Can we give it up for Chris Yi Suh, y'all? Chris is a dear, dear friend of mine, and it's a funny story. Chris and I started as colleagues, became friends, and then eventually my wife Kiana and Chris became better friends than me and Chris. So I'm a little salty about that, but I'm working through it. But Chris is just a dear friend of mine who I love so, so deeply, and I'm just excited that we get to have her this weekend and this Sunday here at All Saints Church and in this forum. Y'all are in for a treat. So let me just read Chris's bio so we know who we're dealing with. Amen? All right. So Chris, her pronouns are she, they. Chris is a queer, diasporic Korean artist, writer, and spiritual care practitioner based in Cleveland, Ohio, on the traditional lands of the Erie, Kaskaskia, Mississauga peoples. As an artist mystic, Chris believes in the power of creativity and storytelling as a path to cultivating spiritual and social change. As a spiritual director and retreat facilitator, Chris holds sacred space primarily for women of color, femmes, queer, and gender-expansive folks of color through spiritual accompaniment, healing rituals, and somatic practices. Her hope for the individuals and communities that she works with is to support their ancestral connection, divine agency, and interiority, and assist their healing journey in ways that aid collective liberation. Amen, amen. Let's just take a moment before we transition and Chris leads us. Let's just take a moment to just ground ourselves, or are you gonna do this? Chris is gonna do it. Let me get out of the way. One more time, give it up for Chris Yi Suh, y'all.
Thank you, Chase. That was such a lovely introduction, maybe the best one that I've had. Thank you. It's so lovely to be with all of you this morning. I was really looking forward to being with you all because I came 2 years ago before a lot of varieties of transitions went on in my life, and I feel like right before all those transitions took place, this was one of those moments that were very precious and sacred to me to be with your community, and so I'm grateful to be with you all this morning. For our grounding practice, I wanted to sing a song for us by Thich Nhat Hanh. And as I sing the song, there's different layers of imagery that will come through. And I wanted you to invite yourself to open your spirit to playfulness and curiosity. I think things that as adults we don't usually access very easily or often. We reserve it for the children, but I believe that we are still children. We are still beloved children of God, of the divine, and we access those places to gain imagination for our transformation, but also transformation of the world. And so it begins in our interiority. The first lines are breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And so at first, let's find our grounding in the ground beneath us. And take notice of your breath, your breathing. Is it short breath? Is it some anxiousness maybe you might be holding in your chest? Just become aware of what's happening in your body. Begin to relax your shoulders. Maybe wiggle your toes. Flail your arms if you need to, kind of, I'm here in this moment. I'm fully here. And as I sing this song, maybe hold on to an image that stands out to you the most, and hopefully with that image we'll begin our other activity. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. I am free. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. 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 Friends, we can come back together and maybe turn to your neighbor and share with them what image stood out to you, or what images stood out to you, or if no image stood out to you, what barriers may there have been. But engage in conversation with someone next to you. Hi, friends, we'll come back together. Can I hear some of the images that came out to you? Maybe one from this side, in the middle, and on the left. Chase, I'm looking at you, so I guess. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be great, actually. You can choose the people.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Someone is looking. Mike is on his phone now, so he's like, all right.
You're not here, intentionally looking away.
So, I mean, there weren't images for us that came up, but it was a chance for us to share about how we're both in this place of wanting to find a place of stillness, a place of calm in the midst of the storms of different spaces that we're a part of right now, and just the need for these kinds of practices, these kinds of rituals to help ground us in the midst of so much chaos and uncertainty and violence in our world.
Thank you for sharing.
Or makes eye contact.
I know. So I had the image of a tree, like this big tree with deep, 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 deep roots into the ground and branches that were reaching up the sky and the leaves just opening up. And then I could feel myself moving into the trunk of the tree until I was the tree.
Once you started chanting about being free, for me it's flight. So I think of seagulls and seabirds.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you all so much for sharing. I wish I could hear everyone's. It's challenging as a facilitator. But I want to say that whatever image or non-image, whatever feeling came over you is part of us accessing our interiority. A lot of times, you know, we're around people or having to do things and getting, like surviving in this world, and we are not given the opportunities to slow down and still ourselves and hear what Howard Thurman calls the sound of the genuine in us. The sound of the genuine in us. And I know there's a lot of conversation out there right now about like having boundaries, like healthy boundaries with people, but oftentimes we are not boundary for ourselves. Thurman also talks about how there's an interior altar within each of us. And he gives this image of angels with swords guarding that place. And he calls it an inward sea. Imagine that inward part of you that's a vast sea. Sometimes I imagine it to be an oasis. It's like overflowing. There's like life in there, but I can't access it because I have to cook for my kids and run around and like chase them and get them back in the house. Life is very chaotic and life is hurried, and there is so much pain and suffering in the world, particularly in Palestine, Sudan, and Congo, and Haiti in this very moment. And we need to be able to ground ourselves and find those moments of oasis and restoration within ourselves. Activist Grace Lee Boggs says, transform yourself to transform the world. And if that inner transformation isn't happening, we're just repeating these same cycles of violence and harm in our communities. And so I don't know where the conversation or the language came around saying self-care or soul care is selfish, you know? Or maybe we reclaim that to say, yes, it is selfish, you know, like, yes, like it should be. We need to take care. But I want to encourage all of us, whenever we get these moments of life is so much right now, that we don't just numb ourselves out with Netflix or a show or consuming something else, but instead going inward, simply singing that song, I am free, chanting I am free, and imagining yourself as a bird, or imagining yourself rooting down into that tree, or noticing how come I can't access an image, and what does that tell me right now? And today we are going to be accessing our playfulness and curiosity, like I said. We're doing an embodied self-portrait activity. And so this doesn't mean you take your phone out and like take a picture of yourself. This is you're gonna be drawing yourself. And so I wanted to ask actually folks in the middle, if you wouldn't mind, if you're able to find a seat where there's a table, because you will need a paper and a writing utensil. Chase, if you're able to pass that out. Thank you very much. Yeah, and if you haven't met the person next to you, please introduce yourself so you can kind of build community in this space. I want to invite everyone to begin this activity from a place of love. A place of love. I have an altar here this morning. This is pieces of what is set up in my home altar, but it's an image of my maternal grandmothers, me as a child, because I'm trying to access my inner child and love on them. I have little symbols from my mother-in-law who recently passed away, who was with us in this space, and several books that have been a big part of my decolonization journey, my own journey of coming to terms with my theology being a personal and political activity from my specific intersections of identity. And I know you all can't bring your altars too, but what does it mean that your loved ones, those who are currently living and those who have passed, are with you now? This is symbolic of the love that is with us always, their love that is with us always. And as we do this self-portrait activity, I want to invite you to, as we begin to draw, that their love is with you. Their love is with you, and that's part of the embodiment practice. We come from a place of love, not from a place of self-criticism or self-rejection. And we're practicing loving on ourselves as we're doing this very awkward, weird thing that we're about to do in our drawing. So everyone has a pen and a piece of paper? Yeah, great. Okay, so gently bring your piece of paper in front of you and take your pen and pencil in your dominant hand. Closing your eyes, you'll be using one hand to draw and the other to explore your face. So I should be seeing everyone putting your hands to your face. Yeah. Your hands to your face. We will be drawing with our eyes closed and drawing only from the sense of touch. So yeah, begin to explore your face. Your fingers, the palm of your hand. And your eyes should be closed. There's no managing, there's no micromanaging of yourself. You're doing this from a place of love. You're touching your face tenderly from a place of love. Let's take a breath. And as you exhale, feel yourself release from thinking or intellectualizing to intuiting and feeling. Imagine your mind, heart, and spirit coming into alignment in your body. And as you continue breathing, allow your intuition to be your guide. Take a breath and bring your free hand to your forehead. Feel that space. What is your forehead's texture, its contours? Draw the sensation of this space with your eyes closed. You should begin to draw the sensation of your forehead with your eyes closed and begin to move over your eyebrows, across the eyes. And just let the pen move and allow your fingers to sense the textures, the curves, the edges, the ridges, the forms of your eyes. Take another breath and slide your hand down to your nose, to your lips. With your eyes closed, let your intuition guide you. And slide down to your chin and your jawline. Feel around your right cheek, across to the left, letting your pen move as you come down into the neckline, into the curvatures of your shoulders. Let your pen move freely with the sensation that you have. Bring your senses to the full feeling of your face now. Once you feel ready, gently open your eyes and come back into this present collective space. I have a few questions that I'd love for you to write down actually as a reflection, and then we can begin discussion. What do you see in this image? You jot down some words, not full sentences. What do you see in this image? What is this image saying to you? What is this image saying to you? What are some curiosities that come up as you see this portrait of yourself? What are some curiosities that come up as you see this portrait of yourself? All right, I'll bring us back together. Maybe get in groups of 3 or 4 and share some of your responses to these questions. Friends, I'd love to hear some of how this activity was for you. I think the first question I have was, have you ever touched your face in that way? No. I would love to hear responses, like what did that feel like? And how lovely or uncomfortable or in between those two spectrums was it?
I'm remembering how 4 years ago at this time, at the beginning of the pandemic, where we were all training ourselves, never touch your face.
Yes, that would come up. That makes sense.
Some collective grief.
Like, what are the germs that are on my hands? Yeah.
Back to I'm making me work.
No, actually, what I was thinking is I've had friends and family members who, as a part of sort of psychological well-being, have done what they call, like, it was called havening, I think, which was a lot of sort of, you know, and I absolutely saw that it did sort of wonderful things for them. And even though I'm sure this was a different thing, it really felt loving. And it felt like there was a psychological, spiritual connection to just sort of exploring that. And then also, you know, it's such a vulnerable place. And it's different than like, oh, touch your arm. But it was like, no, there was really sort of a self-honoring, healing piece to that. So thank you.
Yeah, I was connecting with the way Muslims pray, at least Muslim men, when they put their hands like that and they hold their face. It's sort of a centering experience.
Was anyone surprised by or maybe everyone was surprised by their drawings, but what areas felt like there had a lot of details and what areas felt like there was a lot of spaciousness? What were some things you noticed in your drawing?
Well, first I noticed I had a mask on, so it was kind of hard to. But when I was drawn, when you were talking about the texture of the forehead, and the marks that I made were kind of sweeping marks, and then the eyebrows, I kind of went in on the hairs. And when I looked at the drawing, I could have focused on the hairs on the eyebrows looking like stress, like a EKG that's going like that. But instead, I immediately saw those sweeping movements as a big tree branch, and the hairs as grass. And so it was like a pastoral, you know, so I was able to switch that and that into that loving space, and that just gives me so much joy, because life is kind of like that, you know, period, like always. And to be able to feel like you can alter the perspective, you know, so anyway, thank you.
It was really hard to actually know when to begin to draw, and I think when I heard her feverish scratching, I was like, oh, it's time to draw. But I think that I eventually, once I started, ended up, instead of having a typical mental model of my face, because of the flatness of my skin, I ended up taking a profile. And then I ended up kind of seeing like a desert as I started to draw. So it was kind of a neat transformation.
Good job running.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my 10,000 steps today.
I noticed that my forehead is completely separate from the rest of my face, but also my face is kind of split apart. And I think hearing what Mike was sharing about like just the touching of the face, and like I think for me it was the tradition I was raised in. There was so much separation between the spirit and the flesh and the body, and so much of like almost like a war that was created between the flesh and the spirit. And I think that what I was seeing happening here is the desire for all of that to come into alignment like the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, and the physical, the flesh, and how it's all sacred, it's all good, and like that desire for reconciliation.
Thank you so much. Any last person? Burning to share, but it's stuck inside. All right. Thank you all so much for participating. I'm so happy that I heard laughter and joy as you were sharing in your groups. What is your name? Jonathan, nice to meet you. As Jonathan was sharing about that alignment or that longing for integration and that longing, I really believe, for that connection back to our interiority that brings us into alignment with every part of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. I hope that this embodied self-portrait can live in your home somewhere or in your car, but just as a reminder to you, in the same way you were lovingly tending to yourself or even wrestling with that, like, how do I touch my face, and I've not done this, and what I want to be able to love myself in this full way without bounds, and receive that love from the divine, from my ancestors. I hope that this image can be a reminder for you that love is with you all the time, and it's not forced, it's overflowing. It's a reservoir that overflows and exists within you, and you have access to it. So I hope that you don't throw it away. I'll look through all the trash cans at the church. No, I'm just kidding. But really, please keep it with you as a reminder to be in touch and take care. Take care of yourself and your interiority. But thank you so much for having me today. I think our time now is ended because we have to go to the service. But if you'd like to stay in touch, my contact information is with Chase. And thank you so much for the time. Bye. And the cards on the tables are gifts for everybody. Please take them and remember that you are not a machine. You are a divine human being